This is the Mini i6 wireless remote control keyboard. Um, I wanted to show you what's included here. Of course, they provide the micro charging cable. This is the wireless dongle that goes with it. The instruction booklet, which is not good, is fairly basic and sparse and lacks a lot of basic details on the basic operation of the device and things like that. For example, there are 4 LEDs here on this corner of the remote that basically there's nothing in the instructions to tell what they're for. I mean, I know one of them is for the battery, one is to show activity when you're pressing the buttons and things like that, and that it's connected, but I'm not really sure what the other two buttons do. There's like a home screen and something I can't tell exactly what it is. So the instructions could be way better with this, and because they're really not good. Um, and again, although it's not a really big deal to me, the web page, Amazon page here describes as cleaning cloths included. There were no cleaning cloths included in my sample package, so don't know if they come with your remote or not. There was nothing with mine. So for me, I've been a big fan of like Logitech type of programmable remotes for a long time, and I do have some gripes about them. They're expensive for one. I still like using them. So for seeing this new player on this kind of programmable remote, even though this is a little bit different product, I was really interested in trying this out. Uh, with that being said, though, there's some things I like about this device, some things I don't really like about this device. Uh, although this is, considered to be a programmable remote, it's not in the sense that you can just program it with a code like the Logitech remotes are. You have to actually have, for example, this cable TV remote uh, to be able to program this remote. So it can't be, it's not programmable like by code or anything like that. So, if you don't have the remote for the device you're trying to program, or your remote's broken, you're kind of out of luck with programming that remote. The layout of the keys, at least for using as a TV remote, are not particularly user friendly. This is more designed for a keyboard purposes, which is good for, but for using as a TV remote, I personally prefer either my Logitech or like the regular remote that comes with the device than using this as an actual remote. One thing I would like to see on a higher end version, and granted this is basically $70 remote, is this has a touchpad. I would like similar to the Logitech's, a touch screen, for example, and a version that allows programming without needing the remote. That would be nice. With that being said, though, this keyboard remote is pretty good for certain applications. I would almost call it a niche product because it kind of is. But it is good for like an HTPC setup or certain set-top boxes where you need to search and things like that. The keyboard itself is fairly large, and the keys are spaced enough and large enough that you can hit them one at a time without accidentally hitting multiple keys at once. One of the things I don't like about this, though, is there's a backlight for this, but it doesn't light up when you hit the keys. You actually have to hit this backlight button to turn it on and off. I don't really understand the logic of that too much. I mean, again, it'd be nicer if this was programmable a little bit more, where you could, program the backlight for a certain length of time versus not, or whatever, or even disable it. Um, the other thing that I found is sometimes there is a delay with this remote when you press the keys. And this remote tends to operate more by line of sight with its dongle than like a Bluetooth remote would. So keep that in mind as well. Charging, though, is fairly quick. It charged in a couple hours. The battery life's pretty decent, lasts for quite a while. I initially tested this out first on my Windows 7 computer. I inserted the dongle, the drivers installed fairly quickly, and the device was ready to go. The keys typed accurately, the touchpad worked okay as far as that goes. I did find that the range of the remote kind of is okay, but does get weaker as the battery gets weaker. Maybe that's so with most remotes, but this is a little bit more noticeable with this. And again, I mentioned the line of sight kind of thing. I also tested this with my cable TV using programming this particular, this is a Charter cable remote. And again, it worked. I just didn't find it user-friendly for just standard old watching cable television type of thing. The one thing that did surprise me about this, though, is I was really skeptical because it advertises that it works on the PS3 and the Xbox. I was really skeptical with that because usually PS3 is kind of difficult to get things to just plug and play and go. And I plugged this thing in, and I was really surprised that this worked immediately. I was able to scroll through. I did it. There was a little bit of a learning curve for figuring out which buttons to hit to get the keyboard to activate so you could type the keys. But I was actually really surprised that this worked with my PlayStation. Now, the dongle itself, though, plugging in and out because it's so small, is a bit difficult to get in and out of the USB port underneath the curvature of the gaming console for the PS3. The remote itself is lightweight. It's fairly comfortable. It's not too bad to hold in hand. But I would have liked to seen some way to store the dongle with the remote so that it's not so easy to lose because it is pretty tiny and you may not always leave it in the device that you're using it with. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent, I would say almost niche type product that's useful for certain types of devices and certain setups, like with an HTPC. For me, I would not use this as a TV remote control. My Logitech is much better at that, and even the regular remotes are much better at handling those functions. But do find the keyboard especially beneficial for searching, for example, like with a set-top box, searching for movies, things like that, on the PS3 or again on an HTPC. I give this 4 stars.